Metta, like Ben Simmons was terrible. We'll start with him. We got to also get to Doc Rivers. I mean, can Simmons even? He's got to get out of Philly, right? Like they got to move him now, right, Metta?
I wouldn't move Simmons if I was anybody. If you're smart, I wouldn't move Simmons. You got to think about it. Simmons is going to be 25 next year. Right now, he's 24. He had a horrible playoffs. We know that, but a lot of people have. The thing with Simmons is they were the number one team in the East. Now, granted, if the Nets were healthy, they would not have been number one. They'd be number two. So that's something to build on. I don't think you panic and get rid of Simmons. But you definitely you take him in the room and chew his ass out for sure. Take him in the room and chew his ass out for sure. And then you build him back up. But you got to break his ass down. Pardon my language. You got to break him down and tell him that's unacceptable.
Like, I agree. No, I agree. If there was a dude like, if you could trade him to a team with Kobe Bryant on it, right? Something like that. Hey, get me the ball and you're coming to the gym with me at 5 a.m, even when you think you have plans or you went out the night before. Like, that's great. But he's got to be in a place with a teammate or a coach who can get between his ears. Metta, it's psychotic. Shoot the ball, Ben. In Summer League a couple years ago, he's taking shots. He refuses to shoot. Shaq said on TV he would knock him out if he was his teammate.
I know. I did hear that when Shaq said that on TV. I just look at it from a different perspective, because when you're coaching, you run across so many different personalities. You see what I'm saying? So Ben is one of those personalities. Yeah, you got to shoot the ball. And listen, Ben, it's going to be uncomfortable. You might even get fouled, and you might go to the free throw line. But guess what? It's going to build character for you. You see what I'm saying? Like, he needs to take risk, and he needs to be supported the whole way through. I would never get rid of him because he's a superstar. He had a really bad series. Who didn't? He had a really bad series because he's a superstar. And I think he has a lot of upside. He can only go up from here. I know Embiid. If I was Embiid,
this is one of the reasons I love talking. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Embiid.
No, I say if I was Embiid, I'd be pissed. I was a very intense player, and Chuck Person used to tell me all the time, everybody can't be as intense as you. Everybody don't work hard as you. So stop holding everybody accountable. I get it. But if I was Embiid, I'd be pissed. But if I'm the Sixers, I'm saying, this kid is a superstar, and I think he'd be a champion. But he played very, very bad for sure.
See, this is Metta. This is why Metta World Peace is so interesting. Sorry, Metta Sandiford-Artest. This dude changes names every 2 weeks. I can't keep up. Metta Sandiford-Artest. This is why I love talking to you. You think different. Everyone is talking about he's got to leave Philly. That's how I felt. Can't be fixed in Philly. You're like, no. And it makes some sense. Don't trade him while his value is this low anyway. But I don't know. But I want to move on to Doc because Simmons catching the heat. Metta. Doc has one championship to his name. I love Doc Rivers. I loved him when he was the point guard on the Knicks, right? Love Doc Rivers. Bump into him at the game. He wants to talk the fights a little bit. Love Doc Rivers. But his championship came. He had a big three. There was no other big three in the NBA at that time. And since then, so you're supposed to win a championship. He did it. No taking credit. You're supposed to do that. At least one, and he got one. And then since then, lots of collapses in the playoffs. Goes to rotation 10 deep in a game 7. You know what I mean? No adjustments or bad adjustments. Even the ATOs are not working. They're having a problem with everything. And yet Simmons is almost absorbing some of the heat that should be going to Doc. What do you say to that?
You got you got a point because it takes 2 to tango. 12 on a team with a coach. So maybe it's not all Simmons because Simmons is getting a lot of heat. Sometimes you always see in situations where a player thrives under a different coach. Now, I'm not saying that's the case here, but, he is the point guard. Doc is the coach, so, maybe the two don't mix. I don't really know. But, Doc, he does have a history with his teams of, kind of giving up leads and different things like that. I don't really know the reason. I don't want to really get into bashing Doc Rivers, but Doc had a long.
I don't either, Metta, but it's my job, kinda. I kind of gotta do it if I see.
No, yep. Not me. No, but I was saying
yeah, right. You're not getting paid to bash Doc Rivers. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a coaching job. I'm not bashing anybody, but
right.
But I think with Doc, he had a long coaching career, head coaching career. I mean, one of the longest we've ever seen, right? With head coaches, job after job after job. So maybe he got a little bit tired. I think he's he's well respected, been president and a coach at the same time. I mean, I think you would probably have to hear more from him if he even wanted to go that deep. But I can't really dig in to his, the lapses that everyone has been talking about on Instagram and on social media, because when Doc is coaching, I'm not really looking at, the leads that he's giving up in a series or a game. Maybe I'll look more into it and just, but I think, it's not easy to win. And, I'm hearing a lot of different mixed stories about Doc. Like, some players love playing for him because I heard his practices easy and stuff, different things like that. But yeah, I know I don't really want to get into anything and say the wrong things where,
No,
where
I
I'm
hear
bad
you,
mouth.
Metta, but some like it, just because you were once a great coach or once a great player
Right.
doesn't mean you're always going to be a great coach or a great player. You got to
Right.
earn that every day. You got to re-earn it every day. So some dudes are
I
past their
agree.
prime, even as a coach.
Well, as a coach, like, even right now, I'm trying to get a head coaching job, right? And some people are saying, like, it's impossible. Like, how? Well, and I tell people, like, how is it impossible for me to learn the triangle in 1 year of Phil Jackson offense, which Hall of Famers didn't even learn?
Yeah.
People couldn't even put the concept together. I learned it in 1 year, and I think head coaching is ultimate privilege. You know what I'm saying? And Doc did a great job at it for years, and obviously there's more coaches coming up. People would say I don't have experience, but that's not true. I coached the G League. I coach a lot. I'm coaching now. You know what I'm saying? And I think, coaching is not easy. You win, you lose, and teams make decisions. And, I wish nothing but the best for Doc and, everybody else who's trying to, get head coaching jobs. It's not easy because you got to think about it also.
All right. I don't want you to, I'm not asking you to. Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
asking you to badmouth anyone, Metta. I'm just curious about your opinion about it, because to me, I'm sitting there going, everyone's talking about Ben Simmons. But, Doc, I'll tell you someone else other than Ben and
I
Doc.
agree.
They're taking the heat off Tobias Harris. $140 million, and when they need you most, where'd you go?
Listen, okay. So I get what you're saying. So where would you rank Tobias Harris, Max, in terms of his greatness? Is he a top 3 player, on the team? Is he a part of the big 3? Is he a big 4? Is he a big 5? Is he a 6th man? Is he a 7th man? Well, I'm interested to know from you. What do you think
This is
he
what I would
is?
say. Once upon a time, before he got his big money, him, Jay Crowder, like, they were on my all underrated, like, just grab this dude, he can play type team. But then when he got some burn, his numbers started looking better than he really was. He's one of these dudes. By the way, on offense, sometimes you were like this too. There's some dudes who think they shoot a little better than they actually shoot, right? And you gotta take them back just a little. But the difference between him and you is sometimes you could get carried away as a player when you were young shooting, but when the chips were on the line, I was like, nah. Ron Artest could be okay with the chips on the line.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, if you look at every time I was in the playoffs, I was the go-to guy, with the exception of playing with Kobe.
Right.
Even when I was with Yao Ming, you look at the series with my brother Yao and the Lakers, the ball was going through me, and so it's different. It's not the same.
The ball was going through you in Game 7 with Kobe on the floor.
I'm just saying it's different. You can't really, as I'm saying, you can't. A lot of people make a mistake and compare me. I'm not trying to say I'm better than anyone. Like, no disrespect to my brother Tobias. I'm just saying sometimes I get compared to people that I personally feel I shouldn't be compared to, only because, when you look at every team I was on, from Indiana, we had Reggie and Jermaine, and ball was going to me a lot. Sacramento, Houston, we had T-Mac and Yao. I was definitely a focal point. But I'm just saying, like, with Tobias, I feel like his $140 million is well deserved because the players are getting paid so much money now, and I love that. But you can't compare his $140 million to, like, Latrell's primed $8 million a year, or whatever the case may be, right? Because the players that are the 5th option, the 6th option, they're getting $100 million. They're getting $200 million.
Okay, I hear. Listen, Metta, I get with inflation. What I'm pointing out, some dudes have the heart for the big moment. You were one of those guys who had the heart for the big moment, right? Not everyone is built that way.